Charlie Kirk's assassination was a tragedy for his family, his friends, his supporters, and America. I haven't been this shaken by the death of someone I didn't personally know in quite a long time. As an ex-US Army Special Operations sniper, I've seen quite a lot of speculation online, and I want to cut through some of the noise. People are throwing around claims that this was state-sponsored or a hitman paid by a political group. Well, we don't know that, nor do we have any evidence pointing to that. We, in fact, have a lot of evidence pointing in the exact opposite direction, which I'll go into in a minute. What I do know right now is this. I won't call this shooter an assassin. That word carries a certain mystique, and it gives a pathetic loser like this validation. He doesn't deserve the title. He wasn't an assassin, he wasn't a sniper, he wasn't a pro. He was simply an amateur shooter who decided to take a life better than his own and become a killer. The shot. Well, the facts are pretty simple. The distance was under 200 yards. He used a bolt-action 30-06 Mauser 98 with a scope of at least, I'm assuming, 8 power, though I don't know for sure. That is a very easy shot. So easy, I could teach a child to make it in under an hour, and I am honestly not exaggerating at all. You don't need military training, hunting experience, or any special skill to take a shot like this. 30-06 is a very powerful round, and if you watch the sad, horrific video of Charlie being hit, you saw just how devastating it is. The round appeared to strike Charlie in the neck. Maybe it hit his chest and exited near the neck, but what it didn't do was hit him in his head. A professional would have gone for a headshot. If this killer wanted maximum shock value, which he clearly did, a headshot would have given him that. Either he missed low or he aimed for the chest because he didn't have the skill required for a headshot. Either way, amateur hour. The gun, well, the rifle says it all. A Mauser 98 30-06 bolt-action rifle is the tool of a casual hunter, not even a professional hunter, and surely not a professional killer. Even on a budget, a serious shooter would have picked better gear. To call that weapon professional is laughable. It's like rolling up to an F1 race in a Honda Accord. Now, the tactics, or if you want to call them that, that's even more ridiculous than his choice of gear was his tactics, or lack thereof. First, he positioned himself on a rooftop in all black wearing a tactical vest. That's straight from the Call of Duty in your mom's basement playbook. A professional wouldn't be spotted on camera by kids on the ground asking, "Hey, should someone be up there?" A pro would have been invisible, or if seen, instantly forgettable. They'd have used proper urban hide techniques, which I'm not going to detail here. They wouldn't have stood out in all black tactical gear. They'd have looked like a student or like someone with a legitimate reason to be where they were on the roof. And then there's the footage. Clear, high-quality video of him at the school and hopping fences in a neighborhood, as well as many other shots and video. This wasn't a state-sponsored operator or a hitman. It was an angry, lone amateur. Who he was. Here's my bet. A lonely, angry kid desperate to be somebody. A nobody who wanted attention, validation, and fame. He thought killing someone hated by one side of the political spectrum would make him loved by the other. This was about belonging, about being noticed. And that's where the media and social media come in. They amplify these monsters. They hand them the spotlight. And for kids like this, that's gasoline on the fire. Sound familiar? Trump barely survived an attempt when another college kid fired at him. Add Luigi Mangione, and that makes 3 young men in recent memory trying to kill or successfully killing public figures. We're watching a very disturbing trend. Now, was this a political assassination or something new? Yes, Kirk was killed for his political beliefs, no question about it. But remember, he wasn't a politician. He held no office. That's why this tragedy might mark something new. The first assassination of an influencer. Think about that. Kirk wasn't targeted for power or for policy, but for his ability to influence. If that's where we are now, where speech alone makes you a target, we've stepped into very dangerous territory. The slippery slope of hateful rhetoric. Already some people are saying, this is what happens when you use rhetoric like this. Rep. Ilhan Omar went as far as accusing Kirk of posting, quote, hateful rhetoric, as if that somehow justifies what happened. That logic is as dangerous as the act itself. If hateful rhetoric makes someone fair game, then by her own standard, someone could make the same judgment about her words. Would she see her own assassination as justified? Of course not. And that's the slippery slope. When violence is framed as acceptable because someone decides speech is hateful. That's exactly why the First Amendment exists, to protect all speech, even the speech you hate. Because once a group can ban, quote, hateful speech, then they can ban anything that they dislike. That's how dictatorships start. And it's not a coincidence that the loudest calls to ban hateful speech come from people who want more control over us. My closing thought is this. Charlie Kirk wasn't assassinated by a professional. He wasn't taken down by a sniper or a covert team or a shadowy state actor. He was killed by a bitter, lonely amateur with a rifle and a desperate need to matter. That makes his death no less tragic, but it should change the way we understand it. Because this wasn't just about politics. This was about influence, attention, and validation. And, unfortunately, it signals a very dark turn in which we are currently heading.